Hello, one and all. It is us, the Saturday Night Wrestlemaniacs, coming to you live, ready to talk about some wrestling, and some sports entertainment. It is myself, the People's Choice, Don Rodriguez, in combination with the Nubian Sumo. Sumo, what is up with your MVP shirt tonight?
Just threw something on random. No thought behind it. Just picked the first. Went through the pile and grabbed the first one that I grabbed a hold to. Nothing really major.
Well, let me ask this inquisitive question. You said you went through a pile. So does that mean you have your regular clothes and then a pile of wrestling shirts? Are they separated?
Yeah, I got plenty of wrestling shirts now. I probably got one shirt for every day for at least a week. One shirt every week for every week. The collection is growing. So
what's the new shirt?
I don't wear the same shirt every time. I might go back to one, but
right.
I don't wear the same shirt every time. So yeah.
Are you eyeing a new shirt? Is there somebody that has taken it? You've taken interest in? You're like, I need that T-shirt.
Not really. I've pretty much gotten all the ones that I really want right now. I mean, if a certain person joins the Hurt Syndicate, then maybe if they come out with a new shirt, I might grab a hold of one. But at this point, nah, I'm good for right now.
Is that certain person better than you and you know it?
Nah. I don't think that'll be. I don't think he'll be. I don't think he'll be part of it. No.
Who are you trying to get in there? Spill the tea.
Cedric Alexander.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like if somebody fresh. Since they teasing the MJF thing.
He would be fresh for AEW.
Yeah. I was like, well, I guess that'd be kind of a cool shirt with the sweater tied on a T-shirt around the neck or something like that. Like, maybe interesting.
Have the whole band back together again. Put a shirt together like that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So we know that you keep your shirts separate. You probably wash your white separate from your colors. You're doing the right thing. Mama taught you good. I'm proud of you.
Let's move on.
Go ahead. I was like, come on, I'm trying to put the Bears to go give it to me.
Talking about my laundry. The hell?
Oh, man. You can't hurt me for trying. It's like you open the door, let me go ahead and walk through it. Speaking of open the door and walking through, can we just agree that the Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair segment was the worst segment we have seen in a long time?
I can't. Well, it was bad. It was very bad.
All right, break it down. Break it down for the people.
Worst. I don't know if it was the worst.
It's hard to watch.
It was hard. It was very hard to watch, and it was all Charlotte's fault.
Well, no.
Look, man. I know you. I know you're a mark for Charlotte.
No,
and I know
you had some hesitation
with everything. And you want her.
I will say
you want her to do all this.
No.
You want her to win the title,
some hesitation,
WrestleMania, and all this and that. But you have to admit, she was the first one to go off script. She let the crowd get to her.
Well, here's the thing: how do we know that Charlotte went off script?
Because that's what everything. Well, it's coming through the pike. It's coming from
the crowd got
sources.
But she
came out. Everything.
Well, I know that now. I mean, now we know. But at that moment, she did the right thing. She played to the crowd. She gave the crowd the moment. If they was giving her the Dom treatment, she's got to let them get it out.
No.
But she did she did pause and have an issue where she couldn't get it out. The crowd got her. They broke her. But she kept going back to the same line. And that's why I was like, well, at least she's trying to continue, but she's tweaking it just to try to play up to the crowd. Okay, Chicago. And then she's going back to that part about, her being less than her dad. She was still trying to hammer that point. So that's why I was thinking in my head, well, Charlotte is still trying to get the script in, but the crowd is just fighting her. So when she got back into the turnbuckle in the corner and, she's, just sitting back there, I'm like, okay, good. She's playing to the crowd. Then she said something else, I can't remember, and then threw it to Tiffany. When I think it started to go off the rails at that point is Tiffany went straight to the script. Like, there was no natural to, what the situation was. She just went straight to the line and it just made it awkward. And then it went left, in my opinion. Because I was trying to give both of them grace in it. I'm like, well, if the crowd is hot, the crowd is hot. If they're marking out for Tiffany, when she played up to the crowd, I'm like, good job, Tiffany. When Charlotte was, taking advantage of, that's, 101. If the crowd is that hot, you got to let them be involved. Otherwise, you're not going to get your segment in. So she played up to it. But I don't know what happened when Tiffany started saying her lines. Then she threw that punch in. And then, I don't know what Sherry Shepherd's show had to do with, like, well, did they write that? That was my thought. It's like they're bringing up, you cry. I'm like, well, that's a good jab because, she need to get back at Charlotte. So I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Then she started digging, more about the divorce. I'm like, okay, it's still kind of weird because Andrade works for the company. And then it
doesn't matter. They're still divorced.
Yeah. But
where's the lie?
No, again, that's why I was like, well, maybe they wrote that and Charlotte was, aware. Because if Tiffany's going off the script, Charlotte's trying to deliver the script. I'm like, well, she had to have known that was coming. She didn't look phased facially. And Tiffany Stratton didn't look really phased either because the Kaiser comment came when she was out the ring at the end. But it was just so awkward. So do we just say, hey, Chicago, great job? You finally got one in.
Chicago did what Chicago does.
Yep. Like you took over the show.
They took over the show just like they always do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was on the onus was on Charlotte to stay on script. She got flustered by the crowd. She was trying to get her scripted lines in, but she couldn't get it in. She's obviously can't control a crowd like that, like Dom can. Right. But then again, Dom has people that he can bounce off of to help him out of that situation. She was in it by herself. Right. So she did what she did. She went to the corner, like you said, she went to the corner, tried to kind of slow down the situation. And then she came back, and what did she say? She said, go ahead and say what you're going to say, Tiffany.
Right. And that's what Tiffany gave the line.
That's what Tiffany tried to bring everything back on script. She tried to bring everything back together. But then the jab came from Charlotte. Charlotte went off script first.
What did she say? Because I don't recall. I thought it was Tiffany that went off script first with the dad and the divorce thing.
There was a line. I can't remember what the line was. But there was a line before that Charlotte said that precipitated the dad stuff.
Okay, I have to go back and watch it.
But like you said, let's play devil's advocate. This could have been scripted this way.
Yeah,
it could have been. Like you said, neither one of them seemed to be fazed about the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? So some of that in the beginning could have been scripted. The part about her dad, the part about what that Charlotte was saying, all that in the beginning could have been. But once the divorce line came, that's when it was like everything went off the rails.
Right.
That's when everything went off the rails. And you know how Charlotte gets when she gets off the rails. Hence back to when she had that thing with Nia in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So when she brought up the fact, talk about, well, you need to talk to Kaiser. Kaiser's in my DMs.
That would be funny. Because the first thing I thought was,
y'all got
the same.
You know he's already
the same build.
You know he already replied to that, right?
Oh yeah. He say you wish, or in your dreams. No, in your dreams.
No. He used an old Shawn Michaels video from I think it was him and Stephanie McMahon and he was young. This is like Intercontinental title days with the long mullet. Talking about what did he say? It was just on the tip of my tongue. He said, please don't flatter yourself.
That's what it was, yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think about this, though? Because the whole it first started kind of awkward to me with them dressed alike.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed.
Because I'm like,
I was like, wow, why they dressed just alike?
Yeah. It would only make sense if the segment was planned to have a strong punch, like they were going to go hard, because you got, if you're just looking at two carbon copies almost, you've got the Elder Guard and the New Blood. That's what you're depicting. The Elder Guard is taller in stature, been around for a while, and the New Blood is just coming up. Dave versus Goliath, that type of situation. But I'm like, man, both of y'all aren't really working in these outfits. First of all, Charlotte, I think we lost like an extra third of Charlotte when she put this outfit on. Like,
well, I mean, Charlotte's always been built like a 12-year-old boy anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, but it was not flattering. I will say she could take a great pose, but no, it was not flattering at all. Now, if she left and came back with a BBL, said it'd be a little something there, You can work with that.
Charlotte come back with a BBL?
Yep.
No. No. No.
Yes!
Oh my God, no.
Yes.
That would be horrible.
You know what I'm saying? We been
playing it bad enough when she had them big old boobies. BBL. And she wound up having to reduce them.
Yeah. See, the problem is when she, leaned out, she lost what little hips she had. That's pretty much all she lost.
Yeah, because she wasn't thick for nothing.
No. It's like figure eight was flat as could be, boys. Like, God dang. I can see like, Tony Hawk doing a skateboard trick off the back. It's like, just go straight off. There's no bump there. But, Tiffany, that wasn't the best outfit. Sometimes she looked great. Sometimes like,
look, Tiffany, I give Tiffany props for sticking to the script and doing what she needed to do to stay on course. It was Charlotte that got flustered. I
put it on both of them.
I can't put it on both of them.
My only issue was when it came back and Charlotte said, hey, Tiffany, go ahead and say what you got to say. Tiffany's delivery was, well, Charlotte, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, damn, that's just dry.
Come on, she was trying to stay on.
No, it was dry.
Maybe it may have been dry.
The delivery was so dry, it didn't. The crowd is hot. You got them in your back pocket. She could have said, you know what, Chicago? I'm gonna tell you this: Charlotte is gonna always be second best to her dad. She could have. If you're gonna go off script, you could have jazzed it up, got the pop from the crowd, built a little bit more heat on Charlotte, and then delivered a line. It was just so.
But still, she's still new though. You can't put that on her. But she's still new.
She's getting a master class. She's been around enough. She should have known. Hey, let me take this chance right here. If we already off book, what does it matter? Let me take this chance and just throw it a little twist in, but still get it out. Because
I think she played it. I think she played it safe.
I
Because
guess.
if she'd have went off script, if she'd have went rogue, like you're saying that she should have, she'd have called it from Charlotte.
But
She'd
no,
have
but
called
not,
it from
all I'm
Triple
saying
H.
is all she had
She'd
to
have
do
called
was
it from
just
whoever was producing
play for the
that night.
crowd. I'm not saying go super rogue. Just throw in some emotion to the crowd going nuts for her when she delivered that line. That's it. Nothing else. Just like I said, you know what, Chicago? If she would have just did that, got the pop from the crowd as a babyface, delivered her line. That's all I'm saying. Nothing else. Just, you know what, Chicago, to get the crowd pop.
But see,
And
here's
then
the thing
delivered
now,
the line.
though. Here's the thing now. You just brought up a good point. Who's the heel now?
Charlotte.
Now,
Charlotte is
Charlotte is
definitely
supposed
heel
to be the heel, but now you got sympathy. Folks got sympathy for Charlotte now. They're like, damn, because a lot of people online are saying that Tiffany scorched her. Especially with the 0 for 3 line. They're like, damn. That's something a heel would say.
Right.
So does the dynamic change?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Do they turn Charlotte face now because of this? How does this affect their storyline?
That's what I was going to ask you, because should Charlotte go over now? I mean, before I already think she should, but like I said, I'm not happy with the program, and that's the way we went with the choice from the Rumble. And what's up, Sam? But should Charlotte go over?
I still don't think Charlotte should go over.
Really?
I still don't think Charlotte. I think Tiffany should go over still, but
as the heel.
As the heel, yeah. I mean, it could work either way. I mean, they can still spin it to where Charlotte is still the heel, but it'd be easier. It would probably be an easier transition to make her heel off of the heels of this, and make Tiffany face, and still make her. I mean, Tiffany heel and Charlotte face, and still have Tiffany win the belt at the end.
Yeah, but think about this. In my opinion, and I think Charlotte is the exception to the rule, she is better as champion than chasing the belt.
Who, Charlotte?
Yeah. I've never liked her chasing, because everything she talks about is, half lineage, half it's a Nepo baby line. That's what it was.
Right. The Nepo baby line.
That's what started it off.
Yeah, okay.
It just hit me as I was about to say, I was talking about Charlotte. Yep.
Yeah.
That Tiffany Stratton started it off with that Nepo baby. And then Charlotte went Nepo Queen. But the crowd was so heavy. Then she said, you know what? Go ahead and say what you're going to say, Tiffany. So Tiffany Stratton started it off script. Just so for the record, Mr. Sumo.
Okay, I give you that. Okay, my bad. I forgot the Nepo baby line. I forgot the Nepo baby line. So yeah, okay.
But Charlotte, that's part of Charlotte's, technical gimmick, though.
It is.
And it becomes, really boring. And if I'm the queen, bow down to the queen. But when she is the champion, now she's got the validity, she's got the belt, and she just always promos better as the champion. But her entrance is more regal. To me,
that way though.
To me, that's just to me.
Yeah, I mean, but it shouldn't be that way.
That's what I'm saying. She's the exception to the rule. She's the reverse. She's the reverse of Cody. Cody is better chasing because he's just holding on to the belt. He's just they just put a pin in it basically and say, hey, we'll revisit this while we work out some things, and you can take advantage of the fact that we popping off on Netflix and got people coming in, and we're gonna kind of pull the spotlight off of you until we got to John Cena. Then we'll add the spotlight back because you got somebody to promo off of. But outside of that, Cody's just Cody Rhodes. That's it. Flip side, Charlotte should be champion or better with the championship, and then people could chase after her and you get better out of it. It's weird. But would you say was in your opinion, is Flair better a chaser or as champion? Nate, if we're gonna put the comparison between the two, Charlotte and Rick, that is.
Nate, Ric Flair is always better as champion. He seemed to be he's Ric Flair without the championship, it was just something. It was always something missing,
right?
You know, because you always saw him with the belt. I mean, you just knew him with the belt. I mean, for him to chase after the belt is like, ugh. But
do you miss the interviews right after the match? You know, because that's when Flair was, you know, at his best, or you know, he would come off and he's cutting that promo after beating somebody. You know, and the Horsemen got their stomping, and then you'll have the occasional, you know, dressed to the hilt, you know, the $1,000 suits and $1,000 shoes, $10,000 suits. You know, do you miss that? You think that would work in today's age for not just a general in-ring interview, but you know, they walk off and kind of like they did a couple once with CM Punk, you know, with actually they are kind of doing that. With
they do kind of do it. I mean, they may not do it directly. They may not directly do it out immediately after the match, but they do it like
they are kind of getting back to that.
Or as they're walking out or leaving the venue or whatever the case, you know, they do it, but it's not like they do it. They did it back in the studio days when they would come out of a match and then go straight to the podium and be like, "Yeah, see, that's how it's done.
Right.
That's how a real champion performs. That's what a real champion looks like." So, yeah, I don't think those days will come back. To tell you the truth.
Yeah,
it's all about the entrance and the exit, and you know, it's
the pomp and circumstance and all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of entrances, Rey Fenix debuted at SmackDown. What's your thoughts on that match? I'll tell you mine. Then we'll see if we're aligned. Great to see. Phenomenal entrance. The synergy between him and Penta in reference to logos, all that was just spot on. They got it. But Penta's match, I felt like Penta got more Penta off than in Rey Fenix's. We had a couple spots. But I get it because the other guy from NXT, he looked good. You know,
Nathan Frazier,
he looked good. You know,
he was a good choice for that first match.
Yeah, they made sure he looked good. But I didn't get Rey Fenix. I didn't get AEW Rey Fenix. Let me put it that way.
No, you don't.
And that's what I was looking for. I wanted the WWE Universe to see why we should have had him a long time ago.
You can't give them that yet. You can't give them that yet.
Well,
you can't give them AEW Rey Fenix yet because you can't give them AAA Rey Fenix yet.
Lucha Underground.
It's too much too soon. So you got to kind of feed them a little bit. You know.
Do you think we get that with Rey Mysterio? Because we know that's the end game.
We're gonna get the 7-course meal when it comes to Rey Fenix and the way he comes in. Because so in the entrance, if you notice, the entrance is just like Penta's.
Yep.
I mean, with the fire and the background and them standing with the light right there behind them like that. The way because Penta had the big light and the explosion in the light, but then Rey Fenix's one was similar, but it was more like a sparkling explosion.
Right.
But it was similar. They were pretty much the same intro. He comes out and he does the thing. He does all of this stuff. You know, he doesn't walk the ropes too much. I was expecting a lot of rope walking, but
that's what I was expecting too. Yeah,
he didn't do it. But he holding back on that. Now they did change his finish. He's not using his usual finish. He's using Samoa Joe's finish with a twerk.
With a twist. Yeah. I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
Is he about to pop that muscle buster?
Yeah, he pulled out the muscle buster. They call it the Mexican muscle buster.
Yeah.
Which
it looked good though.
I mean,
But the
it's
problem
different.
is he can only hit it on certain people.
Right. He can't
So
hit that on me,
he's
right.
gonna have to high fly somehow. 450, 1080, 360 degrees, 5-star. I don't care what the heck he's gonna do, but it's gonna have to be something high flying for everybody else. But let me ask you this, because
I think he had a good showing for his first match.
Yeah, like I said, I think they gave Nathan Frazier, rightfully so, in order for them to be like, well, why is he facing him? You know, they made Nathan Frazier look good, but I think he shined just as much as Ray Phoenix. So it kind of took just a sliv away from Ray Phoenix. Because Frazier, I'm like, dude, that dude is killing it.
Nathan Frazier is about as much of a luchador without being a luchador.
Right.
You know, he was trained, as they said, he was trained by Seth Rollins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it? Yeah, he was trained by Seth Rollins. Yeah. So, you know, Seth Rollins has gotten some guys, but he was trained by more than just Seth Rollins. He was in Lucha Underground for a minute too, Nathan Frazier. Yeah. He was in AEW for a minute. So I mean, he's been around. When he was in the UK, he was dealing with a lot of luchadors in the UK. So he's been trained in the luchador style,
right?
The high flyer style. This is where you know, but I wouldn't have put. I'm just glad they didn't give him Axiom.
Yes, or somebody like that. Yeah,
I mean, because Axiom would have been all right, but he wouldn't have been able to match the speed that
right and the transitions.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm glad they brought in Nathan Frazier rather than somebody else. And now the fact that they put Legado de Fantasma in the mix with him. Now we get to see more Lucha Underground because they were in Lucha Underground together wrestling each other when Santos Escobar was still in the
mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I don't know if it's Triple H that's making these calls to align this stuff up, or whomever it is, from the road agent team. They are doing the right thing to make it make sense from the performance aspect, like you're talking about. And that means we're going to get some of the best matches, no matter where it happens in the card. They're going to start stealing the show, like, honestly, the Cruiserweights did in WCW. It's almost like that. If you think about it, it's just going to be a SmackDown exclusive for the most part with Ray until we get Penta over, because there's really nobody on the Raw side from Lucha Underground, is there? Or that can really go at that level? I guess you got Finn Balor. I think he can keep the pace. JD McDonough. But I can't think of anybody else on Raw.
As far as going after Penta?
As far as, keeping that lucha pace.
Well,
or cruiserweight, cruiserweight pace.
They may not be able to keep up with the pace, but they could bring another aspect into their matchup, kind of like style, styles create matches type thing. I can see Penta with Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
I can see Penta with Tyler Bate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because they've been around the block. I mean, there are some people there, but what I'm getting at is I think because SmackDown versus Netflix, well, really SmackDown versus Netflix instead of USA versus Netflix, but SmackDown versus Netflix has an identity. They're just a juggernaut. But SmackDown is kind of like, we're just here. But I think this cruiserweight thing, this lucha thing, can be their identity. The destination where people are going to come see Rey Fenix, Legado del Fantasma, Rey Mysterio while he's still going, Dragon Lee, the LWO. There's enough in that pocket that we can have almost a cruiserweight resurgence from WCW. Hell, we could even get the new La Parka to pop up there once in a while. Was that La Parka 3.0? No, it's just La Park now, right?
No, it's La Parka.
It is La Parka. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if Vampiro will be able to come up, but at least we could get, the cool little dance. Oh man, can you imagine a dance off between La Parka and a Penta on the WWE stage? Like, oh my God, that'd be hot. And R-Truth, guy, I'll throw R-Truth in there. Actually, you know what? Stupid thought, but this whole Chad Gable thing, it should be revealed that he was trained in Lucha once it comes out, that he's El Grande Americano, but he was trained by a hidden Lucha Warrior. And that Lucha Warrior in the vignettes that just comes out is R-Truth in a mask. That would be, oh man, that'd be hilarious. Just when the big reveal is like Sensei, or whatever it is in, Lucha, Spanish. And then he just comes up and takes the mask off. Is what up, dog?
You just enjoy R-Truth being the clown, don't you?
Hey, no, I love our killings, but there's certain times, I could watch the Truth break in Brock Lesnar every day. Every day. In the social media feed, and I'm quite sure you stop too. When there's that, R-Truth compilation video that comes up, you gotta stop, man. That's hilarious. He's carved his lane out. He's got just banger after banger. Great wrestler, great performer. He's got longevity, and he doesn't have to bust his back and his body, trying to keep up with the boys. He's got his lane. And then when he needs to come out and perform, he does it. And you're like, holy hell, Truth can still go. Now he's an attraction without taking away from the talent.
I just don't like the fact that he's not getting the respect that he deserves.
Now, he does need to go into the Hall of Fame. And the funny thing is, I guess they probably do the Miz to induct him, but the person that should induct him is Vince McMahon.
No.
No, who else? Who should induct him?
Road Dogg.
Yeah, but him and Vince went back further in reference to, him being Vince's boy. But I agree, Road Dogg would be a good one too if they can't do Vince.
Road Dogg goes back to TNA with him.
True, but Vince goes to WWE.
They were tag teaming back in his first run. Remember?
Yeah.
So yeah, Road Dogg goes back way before him and Vince were really cool like that.
Okay, yeah. He won't go in this year, obviously, but guaranteed, Hall of Famer. They just need to pull the trigger. Speaking of Hall of Fame, is there any black people going to the Hall of Fame this year?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
Nope.
Just a random thought.
And they pretty much put in everybody they're going to put in.
Truth, I think maybe the last one. Until they stretch and widen the net a little bit. Because, Dudley's are in, so Devon's in. Yep.
Wait a minute, you talking about going in this year or what?
No, just in general. I know Truth will go in. He better.
Oh, you mean in general? How many the black people in the Wall?
No, this year. This year.
Oh, this year.
This year, there's none.
No. Okay. Oh, I was about to say there's plenty in the
but
Wall of Fame. But as far as this year, no, there are not.
But
many.
That need to go in. Who else do they need to put in? That has been in the past. Not talking current folks that have earned their spot like a Kofi Kingston or somebody like that. But
let's see. Thunderbolt Patterson is honorary.
Yeah.
Bobo Brazil is honorary.
Mm-hmm. Rocky Johnson.
They could put in
Butch Reed. Do we put Butch?
I think Butch Reed is in already.
He's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. That's right.
They wouldn't put in shots. They wouldn't put in Pistol Pez Watley. They wouldn't put in Iceman King Parsons.
You would have loved that. You would have did to all the assemblies, all the
Pork Chop Cash.
You would have loved if they did that.
So you have to stretch out and go.
Norval Austin.
It had to be a super wide net to figure out who to put in. Most of it have to be digging through AWA to make it make sense. Since they don't have the NWA under their official.
They pretty much got every old school WWF wrestler that could go in. I mean, they could stretch and put SD Jones in there, but I mean, he was pretty much enhancement or a jobber back in the day.
But yeah, he should go in though. I liked him. Just the name already had me. Got that special delivery. Like, yeah, buddy. If that case,
don't confuse Freight Train Jones. These are two different guys.
No, special SD.
I'm talking about the tall one. One was SD Jones. That was in WWF. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Just making sure. 'Cause a lot of people some people get those two confused for some reason. I don't know how.
No, trust me. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Like I said, he was one of my faves back in the day. Even though he was, putting people over, he's one of my faves back in the day. I enjoy watching him. Did they put in Mr. Hughes? Did he go in?
No.
You don't think they'll put in Curtis Hughes?
They could. I don't think they would.
They put Virgil in.
Yeah, but Virgil was connected to DiBiase.
Yeah,
and
I'm just saying
he was NWO.
What about New Jack? Posthumously, but
I could see them doing it, but it'd be a stretch, and it would definitely have to be something. ECW
Aren't they going back to Philly
related.
soon? WrestleMania? I mean, it would tie in there.
Yeah, it would tie in. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but I don't know if it actually would.
Norman Smiley.
Well, he has
Norman Smiley's not in.
No, he's not, and he has worked with them backstage. He was a producer for WCW, and I think he came over when the transition happened. And he was a trainer for them at one time. So
Norman should definitely go. A lot of people that are currently big in the business can attribute their training, their development, their character creation. He was basically the Black Dusty. After Dusty passed, he took over and took that mantle and really helped a lot of talent that we're just like, oh my gosh, did you see? A lot of those are, Norman Smiley guys, especially the women too. He helped out a lot with Fit Finlay. So there's a lot of female superstars that he's helped develop and guide. So yeah, I would love to see Norman Smiley. That way he can get his big wiggle in.
Johnson.
You said that with a straight face?
Yeah, him and Ezekiel Jackson.
That Ron Simmons would just come through the backstage and beat the hell out of Ahmed just for old times. He ain't over it yet. Man, Johnson, you crazy. If that's the case.
What's up, Raj?
They might as well, Raj, what's up? They might as well go ahead and put in Ryback if they're going to put in him. Shoot. Did you see that Ryback talking about, I wouldn't mind going back?
Of course he wouldn't mind going back.
I think some of the stuff was just taken out of context that I was saying. Like, dude, you were talking about Vince McMahon's dead mom.
Bullshit.
Exactly.
Bullshit.
This is one thing to just, Scott Steiner had beef and gripe and, he was a rebel rouser and stuff like that. Get it. CM Punk had beef. Ultimate Warrior had beef. But nobody talked about the man's dead mom. Ryback, you will never come back. Ever. Ever. Like, I'd rather see them put Snitsky in the Hall of Fame instead of Ryback. Because, Hell no. Hells to the no.
But I would like to see them put Norville Austin in, though. A lot of people sleep on Norville Austin.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know who Norville Austin is, Norville Austin was one of Coco Beware's first tag team partners in the tag team the PYTs, Pretty Young Things. He was actually the original member of the Midnight Express with Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose before Jim Cornette.
Right.
So so Norville Austin has history within wrestling in a lot of different ways, and he does not get the credit that he deserves as being a history maker like he is.
Right.
So yeah, he needs to be recognized.
Yeah. So I guess there are a couple people that they can put into the Hall of Fame still. It's not happening this year, but maybe we'll get somebody of a little darker natural complexion in next year, along with Batista. But that's a whole different story right there.
And then we haven't even talked about any of the women. I mean, Dark Journey.
I'm gonna figure out why you're talking about next year.
And who was the other one?
Well, that's a lot. We still got to get Jazz in. And
no, Jazz is in.
Jazz, is she in?
Jazz is in.
Did I miss that?
Yeah. Well, no. You know what? No, she's part of the NWA Hall of Fame. She's not
right.
WWE.
Okay. Yeah.
Jacqueline is in.
Right.
And then Alicia Fox.
She's in.
Alicia Fox is in?
Yeah, I thought she was in. Didn't she get her? No?
No.
Or did she induct somebody?
She may have inducted somebody, but she's
I
not
think she inducted somebody then, because she inducted somebody, because that was right before she really walked away and got some help and got married and all that stuff.
Hell, she needs to come back and jump on Chelsea Green for stealing her hats.
Hey. Hey Rod, you got to give Alicia Fox, her just due. She played that crazy. Well, she may have been, but she contributed to that era when the women were starting to emerge out from just bra and panty matches and stuff like that, and actually wrestling. She had an impact.
Yeah, she was really the only black diva after Jacqueline.
Yep, and she held that down for a minute. Despite all the bad stuff that they had her do, the bad gimmicks and bookings, and they did what they did, but she at least, what was it, 5, 6, maybe 8 years almost that she rode that wave before she stepped away. Yeah. She was there for a minute, just going through the muck of it, and everybody else was getting a little extra. Or they're just deserves. Even a bra and patty match was a step up from sometimes what Alicia was getting. She put over a lot of people that she should not have put over because she had more skill. But, she's almost on the same level with Natalya in that vein. Just that Natty been doing it longer.
And had Natty had the hook in.
Right. So, yeah, Alicia, she deserves her flowers. I'm happy that she's sober and, she's enjoying life and, maybe she's about due. I know she's a little at a particular time period and season, but should give the girl a baby. Why not?
No, she's actually back in the ring. She's been getting back in the ring here lately.
When?
Yeah, she's been doing some small independent shows. She's done a few of them. From what I've seen, she's under a real name. And she's been putting in a little bit of work down here in the indie scene.
Well, good for her. Good for her. I just know I've seen her a couple, on some of her posts on social media, just happy, just living life, which is, probably the best that I've ever seen her in quite some time, just behind the camera. So, it's good to see. So she's going to do her thing. Heck, bring her back to the Rumble next year. Why not? She's already under. She is under a Legends contract, I believe.
I would think she would be.
Yeah. So I mean, the gate is open. The opportunity is there. If nothing else, you may be on. It's Alicia Fox and the crowd for Netflix. Keeping that thing going. They're gonna run out of people eventually. Pretty soon, little Jimmy gonna be, and little Jimmy's here.
Hey,
sitting next to R-Truth. Like, oh man, that would be hilarious. So let me ask you this, because at first I was kind of mixed feelings. Kevin Owens comes out to SmackDown. I'm like, all right, he starts. I thought he was giving us the Mark Henry special, just not dressed up, talking about it's been a good ride and all that stuff, and letting us know that he's injured, which that was a hell of a bump through that ladder. That if I show somebody is thinking they know how to fall in Jim Ross terms, but he's got to get some neck surgery. I thought it was a work until the end of the segment. I'm like, oh snap, KO is hurt.
No, it just came out. Just came out within, I think it was yesterday or today. Well, earlier today, actually, I believe it was. He came out saying that back in December, he went through some tests. They were actually looking at his back, and they said that he was fine, and that there was some things that were going on with him, but it's like usual stuff that it could exacerbate, but it happens to everybody, and it should be fine. But then in January, he wound up tweaking his neck during a match, and they wound up going back and doing some more tests, and they saw that he had his issue with his neck. So then they were looking at it, they were keeping an eye on it, and they just decided, it was like, look, you're going to need surgery.
Right.
And they're actually talking about doing the fusion surgery on his neck.
So they might be out possibly till next WrestleMania.
C3, C4, C5. They're talking about a year, maybe 2 years. So, yeah, it's not a work at all. This is pretty much what's happening, and I feel for him, especially the timing is really off, because a lot of people were anticipating that Kevin Owens Randy Orton match.
Mm-hmm.
That there are a lot of other pundits, a lot of other podcasts and people talking that are saying that this could affect the whole WrestleMania card. So I don't know.
I don't know how it would affect
the whole card, but it'll definitely affect that match. They're saying that Randy Orton's not going to have a match. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I thought they figured out a easy lateral with him versus Nick Aldis.
Could be. I mean, he did. He might as well use the money. He'd already paid for that one.
Mm-hmm.
He paid for that one up front.
Yep.
So
and it's not like we're talking about a GM that is not believable in a match, or somebody that's been so far removed. We're talking about a former NWA world champion multiple times.
No, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but
no, I'm just saying, for everybody else, Nick Aldis could step out into the ring today if he wanted to. It's just that, the GM lane was, the avenue that was presented, and he took it.
And there has been rumors or word that it has been approached by him to get back into the ring. That they are talking about maybe a new general manager for SmackDown.
Yeah, so, I would like to see him versus Cody. Think about that promo, the lineage that they could talk about when it comes down to champions of the NWA, and your dad and what I've done, and I've outdone your dad, whatever. However, Nick Aldis wanted to take it. He could take it there with Cody, and it would be believable because it's true. In some instances, some stuff they could embellish a little bit or stretch it, but that would be some good TV. But this KO thing, man, it was just like, not just. I don't think he got the flowers that he should have got. If this, heaven forbid, was his last moment, before he has to come back and say it's not happening, not wishing it on him. But if that was the case, I think he deserves to still get that standing O, because I think the crowd was confused.
I think
it's Kevin Owens.
I think they should have took him out with the punt.
Yeah.
I think they should have. I think Randy should have got in the ring, beat him up, got the punt in, and then took him out.
Yep. And then how would you save the match? Now Sami Zayn steps up. And that gives you a whole new avenue, but it still, protects Kevin Owens in reference to that. So Sammy's got a spot. So
no, I think they got another. I think they're going another way.
For Sammy?
No, for Randy Orton. I still don't think it's going to be Aldis. They set it up, but I don't think it's going to be Aldis.
Who do you? Oh, you talking Malachi?
I'm thinking it's going to be Malachi Black.
You could. But what would the heat be? What would the point of contention be? Or would it just be, I heard you need an opponent?
Yeah.
Just straight up and down like
that? Randy comes out, cuts a promo. Yeah, I was supposed to get back at Kevin Owens, and he's hurt now, and I hate that it happened to him, but this is my moment. This is my time. This is my time that I was supposed to be in WrestleMania, and I'm not going to have a match. And then all of a sudden, yeah.
Oh God. Oh man, you gotta let us know when that's happening. Oh, that's definitely going to Instagram and TikTok right there. That's on the level of Thank you for that.
That would be hot. I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
that'd be the way to bring him in. That way he could have the real big entrance.
Or
like he should have. Who?
Miro.
Nah.
You don't think Miro's ready to walk into that?
Not at WrestleMania. Maybe Saturday Night Main Event.
You think he should go after Cody? If Cody's champion?
No. I think he would be more suited maybe Braun Breaker.
So quick? Because I think Braun needs to have his one-on-one, program with Jacob Fatu.
Well, they're gonna have their match at WrestleMania.
Well, no, like I said, program. I
don't think. Well, I mean, they could have they could start a program, but I think the only reason they got this going on right now is because Jacob's going after the United States. I mean, the Intercontinental title,
right?
And then you got Penta going after the Intercontinental title, also. So, I mean, it's either that or the United States belt. I can see him going after LA Knight too.
Yeah,
especially since I believe LA Knight and Miro. I want to say they've crossed paths in the past.
Where? In TN? No, Miro didn't been TN.
No, it could have been a TNA. Well, it could have been a TNA. I don't know. I want to say that they've crossed paths before, but because
possibly could have.
LA Knight has been in a lot of different places.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, Eli has been there, popping around for quite some time, so it's possible. Yeah, it's not outside the scope or on a European trip or something or whomever. I mean, just about everybody wrestled everybody these days. Somewhere, somehow, someplace. They've crossed paths at least once for the most part. And if not, they bump into him at the Performance Center.
Right.
So thus is the way of the business. But yeah, I would be cool with that Aleister Black thing. As long as you get to do the entrance music, then like, yeah, buddy. You got to do the words and everything that nobody understands.
I don't know the words.
Like everybody understand evil, and then we don't know what the hell else is being said after that. Nor did we care back in those, glory days of
really.
NXT.
That song is hot anyway. So
heck yeah, straight banger. So if you come back to anything else, it's going to be crazy. Did you see that they're talking about changing Rey Mysterio's song after all these years?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
No, that's the rumor that the WWE wants to change the music.
Like I said, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they're trying to get away from. It seems like they're trying to get away from all of these old entrance themes that they've had.
That it's more than an entrance though, or just a theme. It's the Titantron, like that whole thing of Rey Mysterio and the mask and all that stuff, and the drums, the lead up. The booyaka booyaka. That's the pomp and circumstance that precedes Rey Mysterio that you want to see. Something else, Ray coming out, with some other, like when he comes out with the LWO, it's whack. I'm sorry. I don't get the same, Rey Mysterio vibe. I don't see the same energy. But when he come out to his job, killing it. But, hey, they know what they're doing. All right, so let's
have a new contract with somebody new. So I mean, I know Jim Johnson. Didn't Jim Johnson do a couple of new ones for some folks?
That I'm not sure about.
I want to say I can't remember whose they are, whose music he did. But I want to say he did a couple new ones recently.
Hey, everybody gotta get that check. As long as it's the right one. I mean, he hasn't let us down yet. Technically, he had a couple ones that was like, "What the hell was that, Jim?" But for the most part, bangers.
Everybody can't be perfect,
I know. Bangers. But also don't forget about, Jim Cornette has helped out with some musical things there, as well as Jimmy Hart.
Cornette?
Jimmy Hart. Sorry, Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, yeah, well.
Yeah.
No. All of his has been corny.
He did Sting.
Yeah, well, he did do Sting.
Like, you gotta give, if you're gonna get one, you got one right. Let's just
that one and the Honky Tonk Man I liked. So
right.
Yeah.
So there's a couple gems out there. Did he do Big Boss Man too? What was that, Jim Jones?
I want to say he did. I want to say he did.
That seemed like his
style, so I can see him doing that.
Every time I drive to my stores in Cobb County, I'm like, first of all, I need to leave because I ain't trying to spend no hard time. But, the Big Boss Man theme kick in my head. So, never forget that. That's the glory of, when you got the ones. Oh, true. Roz, I agree with that. I agree. And the problem with that is that Braun has been Fatu, or as we used to say, he's been Big Show. Fatu has whipped up on you, made you bloody, hit you with the Samoan booty check, basically, and all this stuff. You can't show up as one tough SOB because all they gotta say is, I'm gonna get Jacob on you, right? Oh,
yeah, Jacob Fatu is his 3-minute warning.
Yep. So he gonna have to go. We got ice cream. What the hell?
Because didn't they say that this was the first time Braun?
Sorry.
Didn't they say this was the first time Braun Strowman has ever lost a last man standing match?
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand. And I get it. You're trying to, really make Jacob as a monster, but it shouldn't be at the total expense of Braun. It should have been, okay, he beats, and I understand that he's champion, but he's got to beat Braun Breaker. Then he beats Braun Strowman, and then he beats Nia Jax. I mean, I don't know. Trying to think of who another, super character is that, he can defeat, but not Braun, Sheamus, maybe Sheamus, but not Braun. It's like, okay, well, we see them two come together. We know who's winning. 5-2. But speaking about Samoans, this is our last topic of the night. Save the best for last, the most important for last, because the conspiracies and the streets are talking, and they really want to know what the heck is going to happen in this triple threat match.
Which one?
The one. The one.
Which one?
The one where Paul Heyman has his choice technically at this point to be a wise man of one of three men. It could be just a temporary, you know what? I understand the wise man had to keep his word because, that's the situation. Roman could say that and try to patch it up. It could be, hey, CM Punk saying, I'm the original Paul Heyman guy before you, Roman. That's my guy. That's my favor. Then there's the rumor that the ultimate swerve happens, and the one person that needs the rub, that needs the wise man at this point, or actually, I think you will retire the wise man and needs the advocate, would be Seth Rollins. Where do we go with this match? And we're not just, trying to do like an early preview on picks, but where would you prefer Heyman to render his services coming out of Mania? Not going into, but the Raw after Mania, where should Heyman be aligned with?
Greenville School.
I'm thinking he goes with Seth.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
I'm thinking he goes with Seth because if he goes with Seth, then Cody's prophecy comes true. Because Cody said that, for those who don't remember, Cody said at one time before WrestleMania, he was cutting a promo in the ring with Roman and Paul Heyman, and there was somebody else in the ring. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Solo.
Right.
And he said, Solo, I'm telling you, Solo's going to leave you. The wise man is going to become an advocate again, and you're going to be without a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also, if you go back and remember, Roman Reigns said, without the wise man, there is no tribal chief.
Yep. And then in 2013, Paul Heyman told CM Punk that he would be in his corner for his first main event at WrestleMania,
which is where the favor comes in.
Right. So there's a lot of different things at play.
With him siding with Cody, with him siding with Seth at the end, this ends the bloodline. This separates Heyman completely from Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And this gives Paul Heyman new life as the whatever he's going to be for Seth Rollins. Because remember, he's never been the same thing twice.
Right. He could be the obelisk or something like that.
He's been the wise man. He's been the advocate. What was his? What was he for Brock Lesnar?
He was the advocate for Brock.
No, he was the advocate for Punk.
No, he was the advocate for Brock for sure. But no, he was was he a consultant or something for CM Punk?
Hey, why am I first?
Well, anyway, he's never been the same thing twice for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see what his new title will be under Seth, but I can see him being with Seth now. You know, it wouldn't make any sense for him to continue with the bloodline. The bloodline is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Why is it being
It's going to be interesting to see. And I know we have to touch on it. So that's why we're talking about it now. But I almost don't want to know what's going to happen or even forecast it out. But the only reason why I said, well, let me talk about it is because I was listening to Busted Open Radio. And shout out to them. And what they were mentioning, I said, well, I got to talk to Sumo about this. Because David LaGreca was really hammering home how he doesn't feel as though Seth Rollins has an identity. Roman, tribal chief, pomp and circumstance entrance, you know, the Ulufala, all that stuff, you get it. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, cult of personality, AJ Lee's husband, you get it. Seth Rollins, what they were saying was if you take away the music, then all you have left is the clothes. Not saying he's not. Is that your symbol? Not saying. Okay, thank you. Not saying that, you know, he's not a great, you know, wrestler and performer. We know that. But as far as, you know, who is Seth Rollins, that was the big question because he seems like an afterthought. Kind of like EO with Bianca and Rhea. And Lord knows Seth Rollins is a lot more of note than EO. No disrespect to EO. But we're just talking about, you know, in the WWE. How is Seth the afterthought is because what does he have to contribute technically to the match? Which would mean that he would get the most out of the alignment with Paul Heyman. So with that, those parameters, I wanted to bring that to you and see what your thoughts are. I don't know if you got a chance to hear that segment on Busted Open this week, but I wanted to see what your thoughts are about that.
No, I haven't heard the thing on Busted Open, but I mean, I can see where they're going with it. I mean, like you said, even you know, because when he was with the Shield, he was part of the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was pretty much the guy that was running the Shield. That's why he called himself the architect.
Yes.
He was pretty much the leader of the Shield. Roman was just the muscle.
Right.
When he left the Shield, yeah, he had significance because he was part of the Authority.
Mm-hmm. Corporate Seth.
When he left the Authority, yeah, he was going up against Triple H. I mean, how can you not take advantage of, you know, being in the spotlight with Triple H?
Yep. Now it's revolutionary.
So, but after that, I mean, where was he after that?
Then he kind of went heelish. Was the it's kind of a mixture of the visionary and freaking. That's
apparently they dropped the freaking from his name.
Right.
So he's not even Seth freaking Rollins anymore. He's just Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. Yeah. So who is Seth?
He's the man's husband.
Yep. But just think about where Paul Heyman can take him.
Oh no.
And Seth,
I'm not denying that at all, which is why I'm saying, man. I mean, Paul Heyman going to Seth cleans the table.
Yep.
Clears the table pretty much in a lot of different ways. And it brings new life to him too. Because he got somebody else that he can build up, somebody else to do stuff with, you know. So yeah, I can see that happen.
Yeah, and Roman and Seth should not cross paths until SummerSlam. They need to be on different brands because we know that the brand extension or the draft will come after Mania, but they need to keep them separate. CM Punk can have his beef with both. Let him be the free agent that can float. But I would not have those two cross paths until you are putting butts in another stadium.
Oh no! You have Punk and
outside of Saturday Night main
Roman.
event.
You'll have Punk and Roman because when all this happens, Roman's going to be like, "This is your fault."
But I mean, it can't be a match because I want Seth to go into that match champion. Because if Cody beats Cena, Seth and Paul beats Cody. That's how that should go. And I would have that go down on Monday Night Raw, the Monday after Mania. It would just become a match right then and there. And Seth would go over. Nobody would expect it. It would be like, what the heck just happened? It could be by hook or by crook. I don't care. But Seth walks out as champion. And then he walks into that match with Roman as champion. Because now he's got equal weight. Then he'll have time in between, being champion and going to the SummerSlam. So, he could be not the longest reigning like Roman of the modern era, but he's had a long reign going in. But I also want John Cena to win. So I know
we don't want Cena getting 17.
It would just be hilarious to just watch the internet explode.
For him to threaten to do the same thing Punk did in the Summer of Punk, that he should have did, the WWE's version of the Summer of Punk. No.
But think about it. He wins. That's the main event. CM Punk's music hits. He drags the ref down. Like, it's not going out like that, John. Could be another match. There you go. They could even do a callback to the Montreal Screwjob if they want. CM Punk puts in the Anaconda Vice. Ring the bell. Like, oh man.
Now, didn't Hogan win a belt like that?
Yeah.
Hogan won the belt from Yokozuna like that, right?
And he won it like that once the WCW.
Yokozuna wins the belt. Hogan comes in. They start a match with them two, and Hogan winds up winning the belt.
Out of nowhere. It's like, what the heck? But I think Yoko was injured, though. So, I mean, it made sense then. Well, now that we know that. But, yeah. Because, Vince was all about you got to be able to, carry the belt and travel and do the thing. Opposed to, it being a short reign. It was going to be a reign. And he just, couldn't have the title vacant. So I don't know. We've got some interesting situations to where I may have to black this out from my viewing over these next, 13 days? Yeah, 13 days, I believe.
Let's see. The 19th, yeah.
So over these next 13 days, so that way I don't have any more spoilers because I want to experience this match naturally. I want to mark out. I want to pop. I want to be pissed. I know we talked about it now, but I like to forget the conversation. I'd like CM Punk also to put the lip ring back in. Go all the way back. If you're going to go there and you're about to have your moment, really be CM Punk. Living Color performing. They're supposed to allegedly be in the area. And you put that lip ring in. And have AJ Lee come out with him. Just why not? At that point, why not? It's WrestleMania. If you saved it long enough, just go ahead and get AJ out there for the performance.
Have him come out in the entrance with that what is it? Straight Edge Society mask on.
Oh God.
And he takes the mask off and he's got the buzz cut again.
Yeah. I'll be down with that too. Dot all the grays. I'll be with that. Everything that, we wanted over 10 years ago. We need to have that going into Mania. Don't give me old CM Punk. Just give me, when I close my eyes, CM Punk. That's who I would want to come down there. Just to be a part of that scenario. But either way, it's going to be, the biggest thing to talk about after Mania. And because of that, just so you know, we'll be doing our React show for both nights. So we'll be looking forward to coming to you live immediately after whatever is going to happen for night 2's main event, which is the triple threat with CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. And, well, you call it a triple dot 1 with Paul Heyman there. Got to keep Paul Heyman in the mix. And then we'll also be talking about all the craziness that happens on both nights. So look forward to having y'all joining us in, less than a fortnight at this point. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We're looking forward to another year coming to you, being able to present Mania Week. I guess next week, Sumo, we need to talk about all the different events that folks will need to get prepared for and plan to watch from the collective and everything else that's going to be happening.
Yeah, I've been trying to find out if they put any matches together. I know they put some together, but they haven't announced any real cards yet. So hopefully that'll happen within the next week or two.
Yeah.
So once that happens, we'll see if we can get Perry involved and get him back because he's our GCW expert. So we'll see if we can get him in here to talk about that.
Absolutely. 'Tis the season. And then also can't forget about AEW, and we'll have to talk about, what's on the docket for AEW's rebuttal against, the cash grab that is the Hall of Fame, 2 nights of WrestleMania, nightclub events every night, and I don't know if you want to call it celebrity roast, but a roast of WrestleMania. There's a lot happening that weekend that AEW has to contend with. And are they going to present their lead into WrestleMania weekend shows with enough star power and gusto to not be an afterthought this month?
And I believe TNA has a show that weekend too, if I'm not mistaken.
But we may see WWE in that. So I was kind of just lumping them in there with the WWE effect. Technically, since they're so close. But I will leave everybody with this. And then I'm going to click the button and we're going to have our outro. But there is a strong rumor that Vincent Kennedy McMahon now owns Total Nonstop Action or TNA.
I believe that was the April Fool's joke.
Could be, could not. We'll talk about it.